My love of clematis, I guess, really started when I went to Chelsea Flower Show when I was age 16. And clematis, I guess, these days are now even a bigger part of my life than they ever have been in the past, because of the breeding and the development work we're doing, and because of the opportunities that I have to go and see species in China and other parts of the world. We supply about 20% of the world's annual requirement of young clematis plants. This year our production will be way over 2 million plants. I think it's a challenging plant, and it really is fascinating because of the diversity of the species themselves. There's so much from evergreens through to scented and unscented, climbers, herbaceous plants, subshrubs. So there's such a range of different species. So it's just fascinating to me. So I guess I have quite a lot of favourite cultivars, but Nubia I think is such a stunning colour. Really, it is a breeder's dream to create a clematis with such a rich colour. It's very long flowering, and also its habit is marvellous. And you can see it's just full of flower buds. The concept is, in most people's mind, that you buy a piece of trellis, you buy a clematis, and you plant it probably at the bottom of a south-facing wall. That is totally the wrong place to grow clematis. Clematis like somehow the interaction with other plant material, and certainly they love to have shady roots, so really one can plant shallow-rooted perennials or even annuals at the base of clematis, and that will help to create that microclimate. When I heard the news of the announcement from the Royal Horticultural Society that the May show would be cancelled and delayed until September, and I thought, gosh, the clematis that were intended to flower in May, of course, were early flowering, and of course those individual plants would not last until September. So we had to come up with a plan of how to grow the plants so that they would be in full flower for the end of September. We let the plants grow wild. Naturally, we pruned them back twice to keep them nice and bushy. And then at the end of May, beginning of June, we pruned the plants back to just a few centimetres, about 4 or 5 centimetres above compost level. So the clematis for the show have really grown well, in fact too well, and they're possibly a week or maybe two weeks ahead of schedule, so we really need to cool them down. And this is one of the cold stores that we will use them, and they'll be in this for a period of time. These are quite advanced. They've already been in once, and they will have to go out in 4 or 5 days' time. As we get closer to the Chelsea Flower Show, it's a matter of inspecting really every plant and just checking if there are some old flowers like this that really are going to fade and be terrible. So these will be removed because then all of these younger buds will develop into flowers just in time to open for the flower show. So having grown the plants and getting them into flower, and just a few days before the show, then we tidied them up for the last time. So I'm really relieved when we get to Chelsea and I can open the back doors of the lorry and see that everything is okay. We will be taking one new variety to Chelsea Flower Show this year, Sukiko, which is really a fantastic plant, and this has lovely white flowers. I really love white flowers, very lovely contrasting there. It's a really great plant, flowering here, lots of buds to come, and even new growth coming with all flower buds here. So really a fantastic plant for growing up through roses, and perhaps at the base of an archway. It would look so elegant with all types of roses, obviously particularly red roses. It can grow in a tub or a container as well, as long as it has a shaded root system. So a really good new clematis. We have some really top quality plants. We will have 2,500 plants and uppers of 10, maybe even 15,000 blooms on our exhibit.
Whenever we think of Chelsea, we think of clematis and of course Raymond Everson. Raymond, this is a most gorgeous display. You've been coming to Chelsea now since you were a teenager, I think, is that right?
I think so, I'm afraid so.
And of course now, as everybody else, it's an autumnal Chelsea. How has that been for you and also for your plants?
Mark, it's been a bit of a challenge, but our clematis are bred to be repeat flowering. So what we did, instead of the plants obviously coming to the May Chelsea Flower Show, we let them grow. We trimmed them back a few times, and then really at the end of May, early June, I cut them all back to sort of 6 or 7 centimeters, took all the leaves off them, and then we put them in the cold store and said, guys, have a winter, come out and flower.
Well, they certainly have. I mean, how many have you got here on the display?
There's about at least 2,500 plants.
Wow.
So a lot of plants.
That is a lot of plants. That's probably, what, 20, 30,000 blooms? Something like that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's a lot of clematis.
That's a lot of clematis, exactly. Raymond, can you just tell us, what does it take to breed such a beautiful clematis, such as the Duchess of Cornwall?
Well, Mark, what we have to first do is select the parents and then grow the parents on, and then pollination takes place. But it's really a long process. It takes really 8 to 10 years to develop a new clematis before we put it on the market, because we continually test it and check that it's a really good plant.
Well, Raymond, congratulations, you got a gold. Am I right in thinking that's your 31st gold?
I'm afraid so, yes.
Well, rightly so. I mean, it is the most stunning display, and I know that people all around us are just constantly taking photographs, and I know they will be asking lots of questions about these beautiful clematis.
Mark, that's very kind, thank you.
I remember going to visit Raymond in Guernsey 30 years ago, and it's wonderful to see that he's still bringing that incredible burst of colour to the pavilion. And in a moment we're going to find out how some of our other Chelsea veterans have fared.
But before that, let's have a look what else is coming up.